Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the PharmTech 360 show. And you've got your two stars here with me in Chris and Nina, always bringing new things. I always drop new technology blunders on them. So we are a little bit late for our first show. Moving forward, we will be on time. But guess what? This is the internet. So we're never late because it's recorded and you can watch it whenever you want. So great things with Tech 360. They've got a ton of guests that are coming on board, talking about a ton of different angles and what's kind of going to be happening. This weekly show is going to happen at this time every week, kind of moving forward, and you'll get to join them here live, and then you can join them in their channel for more in-depth discussions kind of moving forward. But wanted to pass it over to Nina to kind of address the whole crew and welcome to her show.
Thank you. So Chris reminded me it's Heart Health Month, and so we're both wearing red to support Heart Health Month. So thank you, Chris, for that. And I see that we are matching right now. So I'm very happy. and thank you, Kevin. So yes, I want to share a little bit about what we have planned. Chris and I actually sat and are going to start going through the year's worth of material and what we want to talk about from month to month, in addition to the weekly, lives and office hours that we're going to be having. So I have spent quite some time, digging through folks, the resources that I have, the contacts that I have, and the connections that I have to find the best of breed to bring to the pharmacy technician channel. And what we have coming down the line are programs under the three different pathways: clinical services and programs, business development and growth, and the pharmacy pioneer path. So we are going to have point of care testing for pharmacy technicians. We're going to talk a lot more about MedSync and medication adherence. Chris is going to do that today when we go into our channel on Zoom. And then we are also going to have some PGX. We're going to have immunizations. We are going to have what I'm really excited about. I spoke to a pharmacist yesterday who's going to create the content, is something around the mental health space and becoming a mental health advocate for pharmacy technicians, especially where you are on the front lines, you are in the community, and you're seeing that. So we have a lot of things coming down the pipeline for business development and growth, a lot about technology. There's going to be, mini courses on a lot of different things, inventory management, KPIs. We just have a lot of material coming down the path. And then on that pharmacy pioneer path, I really have some folks that are doing very different things in sales, in marketing, in big companies and big organizations that want to talk to you and tell you how they got started there and how to find roles like that. Something that I think we all stumble upon is, how do we get into a company like that? Do you just need to know somebody? And no, that's not the case. So again, really helping you to find the right path for yourself and giving you the opportunities under those paths. And I'll let Chris talk about the MedSync program, because that's something that we're going to go in deep dive today and talk a little bit more about the overarching MedSync as it relates to medication adherence and so on.
Thank you, Nina. We are focused on MedSync because it is the foundation that is anchored in community pharmacy. We know statistically that about 70% of technicians who are in active practice are in a community pharmacy setting. MedSync has usually been taught through the vendor side, and we're developing the MedSync learning from the standpoint that we want you to know the skill, we want you to know the understanding, we want you to know the role that it plays in patient care. So many people come into healthcare, and of course with pharmacy specifically, that say, I want to help the patient, I want to be able to serve them. And we think that it's a medication issue only, but it's not. It's the whole area of care. People think of MedSync as autofill. It is not autofill. It is about those steps that keep you in communication with the patient. It's the first encounter that lets you know if the medication is working, if the patient is taking it on time. Is there a medication safety issue? Are we dealing with polypharmacy? We're going to be covering it in a range. The first launch is an overview of MedSync, why you should know about it, how do you develop your skills, how do you specialize in the area and make it your own. I do want to visit, I want to encourage all of you to catch the replay of last week's webinar. We have a webinar at the end of every month, the fourth Thursday of each month. Last week it was our launch. It was Bloom Where You Are Planted. We had 3 guests who are active technicians at the bench in practice. All three are in leadership, and all three develop content for other technicians to learn. So they've got some great information to share. They come to you with experience and support, and we are going to continue to bring these kinds of resources and these voices to you in a variety of topics.
Amazing. No, I love it. I think that the MedSync topic in general is just one that, with the couple minutes we have left before I know these folks have to go and join everybody on the Zoom side, which I hope you guys do too. It's really within MedSync, Chris and Nina, your guys' experiences have been varied on like what angles you're approaching MedSync.
Mhm.
Mine's going to be a little bit different too. So when it comes to like the comprehensive review of MedSync in general and the importance of it,
Mhm.
can you kind of lay that out for me? Like, what is the importance? Like, we use the word MedSync all the time. I was talking to pharmacists the other day and said, "Oh, that sounds like a neat concept," which it seems like it's almost ubiquitous in pharmacy in my mind that everybody is moving toward MedSync. Everybody is trying to get fills more on a cyclic kind of basis to decrease their, overall effort in, fulfilling all these prescriptions. Why is it so important, Chris and Nina?
Nina,
Like,
can I
what
answer that?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So Nina comes from the med adherence side, on the business side, and that's the goal that we have for the patient. MedSync is the engine that drives med adherence. It started in 2009 with a small community pharmacy in California, Southern California, I believe, that said, we've got these patients that come to us every month, but we want to manage our inventory and we want to control our workflow and also our staffing issues. And so it evolved out of need. And now it's come to the point where across the pharmacy spectrum, everybody understands MedSync as a process helps develop med adherence with the patient. And so that's why we're driving it at this point. Now, the next stage that's coming into community pharmacy in particular is the appointment-based model. And that concept probably developed about 8 or 9 years ago in its infancy, but it's what drives pharmacy today. And I serve a variety of organizations, but one is CPSN. And one of the members stated, we have to move our patients and our customers to the point that they don't look at going to the pharmacy as an errand. They need to look at it as a commitment, a dedicated, designated task of their day. And so with all the services that we are now providing, with the fact that we are moving away from dispensing as our primary source of income, we are moving to that appointment-based model, and MedSync is the foundation for the appointment-based model in all of our patient care.
Nina, any
It's
bits to add?
Yeah, it's a really unique way in which Chris has positioned it, because I came from the mindset, well, so to say, and of, medication adherence is the end all be all, right? And not really looking at what's driving that. Of course, MedSync is a fundamental component of it, but it wasn't the way in which I looked at it and or sold it. Right? So,
Yes.
so it's really interesting and a unique perspective, but I do agree. I mean, I think we've been talking about this. So I started, with medication adherence companies in about 2015. That was just starting the adoption of a medication adherence, MedSync appointment-based model. I mean, that's what we've been talking about for the last, what are we in for, 7-8 years? You know what I mean? We've really been trying to push this along. And the interesting part is there's still so many pharmacies and or technicians who don't understand it, who don't understand how to drive that process, and or pharmacies that have adopted it, right? There's still a lot of naysayers and have wanted to work in kind of the past. And so again, if we tie it all in together, that inventory management component, that staffing component, I mean, that's really driving the true metrics. So if you really want to look at it from the 30,000 foot perspective, to say, how can we reduce our costs, how we can reduce our inventory costs, our staffing numbers, and really make things work for us, is we're going to have to implement this, not just for the patient, but also for the need, in the pharmacy, to save as much money as possible, to, keep revenues, above and keep them alive, and independent community pharmacy alive, to get away from, being, a crisis of the PBMs and the DIR fees that we're seeing. So this is all encompassing. And I think when Chris and I really, focus in on what we want to talk about each week to week is building upon what we talk about each month. And so that it's all supporting, one another. We have really those 3 paths that we want to stay committed to and focused on, and grow programs underneath those paths so that you get the most experience, the most knowledge, and you really come away with, yes, I feel really confident where I want to go and how I want to grow my career.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. No, you guys are just full of, I think, fantastic stuff on why MedSync matters so much. It's in the next model in general. It's not just something that is a nicety to be able to align your prescription and your inventory. I think it's going to be essential for the models. That's fantastic. This is so too much fun. Next episode, we'll have even more for you. And head over with Chris and Nina and join them inside their channel. Moving forward, you'll come in here, check out all the tips are give you, and then more dive deeper into PharmTech 360 channel on our PA. Nina, wonderful job. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. We're on Zoom, so we'll see you over there.
Okay.
Take care.